Hello, everyone, and welcome back to another episode of the English Story Podcast. I'm Emily, and as always, I'm joined by the guy who somehow manages to procrastinate even his procrastination, John. How are you doing today, John?
Hey, Emily, I'm doing great. And wow, way to call me out right off the bat. But you know what? You're not wrong. Hi, listeners. If you're like me, someone who dreams big but sometimes gets stuck on the couch scrolling through memes, today's episode is for you.
That's right, because today we're talking about a topic that so many of us can relate to. What to do when you're ambitious but lazy. You've got all these big goals and dreams, but when it's time to actually get started, suddenly cleaning your closet or rewatching your favorite series feels way more urgent.
Exactly. It's that inner tug of war between wanting to accomplish something amazing and wanting to stay cozy and do well, nothing. It's frustrating, isn't it?
It really is. But here's the good news. Being lazy doesn't mean you're not capable. It doesn't mean you're unmotivated or unworthy. In fact, it's often a sign of something deeper, like fear of failure, overwhelm, or even burnout.
Right. And we're here to help you untangle that today. So, here's what we're diving into. First, we'll talk about why ambition and laziness often go hand in hand. It's more common than you think. Then, we'll explore what's really holding you back. Spoiler alert, it's probably not laziness. And finally, we'll share some simple, actionable strategies to help you bridge the gap between your big dreams and your daily actions.
Not only that, but we'll share real-life examples and relatable stories to inspire you to take that first step, even if it feels small or imperfect.
Because here's the truth. It's not about getting it perfect. It's about getting it started. Progress beats perfection every single time.
So if you've ever felt stuck in the cycle of wanting more but doing less, grab your coffee, settle in, and let's figure this out together.
Let's do this.
So let's get into the heart of this paradox. Why do ambition and laziness seem to coexist? It feels almost contradictory, doesn't it? Like, how can you want something so badly and still not take action toward it?
Exactly. It's like knowing you have a 5-star meal waiting in the kitchen but choosing instant ramen because it's easier. Here's the thing. Ambition and laziness often go hand in hand because big dreams can be overwhelming. When you have a massive goal, your brain goes, "Whoa, that's too much. Let's just avoid it entirely."
That's so true. It's the classic case of analysis paralysis. You start thinking about everything you need to do, all the steps involved, and suddenly it feels impossible to even take the first one. So instead, you do nothing.
And let's not forget fear, specifically fear of failure. When your dreams are big, the stakes feel high. What if you start and mess it up? Or worse, what if you put in all that effort and still don't succeed? Sometimes it feels safer to stay in your comfort zone.
Absolutely. And here's another surprising twist. Fear of success can play a role too. People think, what if I achieve this and it changes everything? Can I handle that pressure or responsibility? It's like a mental tug of war that keeps you stuck.
Then there's the sneaky culprit, perfectionism. You tell yourself, if I can't do this perfectly, why bother doing it at all? So instead of making progress, you procrastinate. Perfectionism is like a fast pass to procrastination, isn't it?
Totally. And let's be honest, instant gratification doesn't help. Big goals take time and effort, but your brain is wired to love quick rewards. Why write that report or hit the gym when you can scroll TikTok or binge watch your favorite show right now?
Exactly. Your brain's like, why climb the mountain when I can relax in the valley with a bag of chips? But here's the thing, laziness isn't a character flaw. It's often just fear, overwhelm, or a lack of clarity in disguise.
And understanding that is the first step. Once you know why you're stuck, you can start breaking free from the cycle of dreaming big but doing little.
Coming up next, we'll talk about what's really holding you back and how to tackle those barriers head on. Stay with us. You don't want to miss this.
So now that we understand why ambition and laziness coexist, let's dig deeper. What's really holding you back from taking action? It's not just about being lazy, it's about the hidden barriers that keep you stuck.
Exactly. Let's start with one of the biggest culprits, overwhelm. When your goals feel too massive, your brain doesn't know where to start. Imagine standing at the bottom of a mountain, looking up and thinking, there's no way I can climb that. It's easier to just sit down and avoid the whole thing.
Totally. Overwhelm often comes from not breaking your goals into smaller, manageable steps. If you're trying to write a book, for example, thinking about the entire thing is paralyzing. But writing just one paragraph? That feels doable.
Another big one is decision fatigue. We're constantly bombarded with choices: what to do, when to start, which tools to use. And when you can't decide, you default to doing nothing. It's like your brain says, "This is too much work. Let's just scroll Instagram instead."
Exactly. And then there's the sneaky role of your environment. If your workspace is cluttered or filled with distractions, like your phone constantly buzzing, it's almost impossible to focus. You might have ambition, but your surroundings are working against you.
Let's not forget instant gratification. Our brains love quick wins, so why tackle a challenging project that might take weeks or months when you can get a dopamine hit from checking TikTok or grabbing a snack?
That's such a big one. And finally, there's a lack of clarity. If you don't know exactly what you want or why you want it, it's hard to stay motivated. Ambition needs a clear direction, and without it, you're just spinning your wheels.
So to sum it up, the real things holding you back are overwhelm, decision fatigue, distractions, instant gratification, and lack of clarity. But here's the good news. All of these are fixable. You don't have to stay stuck.
Exactly. And that's what we're talking about next. Practical strategies to help you get moving, even if it's just one small step at a time. Stay with us. All right, it's time for the good stuff. How to actually overcome laziness and start turning your ambition into action. These strategies are simple, but they work. So let's dive right in.
First up, start small. Seriously, scale it down. If your goal feels massive, like, "I want to launch a business," it's no wonder you're procrastinating. Instead, focus on the smallest possible step you can take today.
Exactly. If you want to start a business, don't think about writing a business plan. Just brainstorm one idea. Or if you're dreaming of getting fit, don't worry about running a marathon. Go for a 10-minute walk.
Small wins build momentum. It's like rolling a snowball. It starts tiny, but with consistent effort, it grows.
The next strategy is all about time. Use timers and set deadlines. One of my favorite methods is the Pomodoro technique. You work for 25 minutes, then take a 5-minute break.
I love that one too. You'd be surprised how much you can get done when you know a break is just around the corner. And if you're dealing with a bigger task, set a deadline for yourself, even if it's self-imposed. Deadlines create a sense of urgency.
Right. For example, if you've been procrastinating on a project, tell yourself, "I'll finish the first draft by Friday." Having a clear finish line makes it harder to keep pushing things off.
Next up, accountability. Let's be honest. When no one knows about your goals, it's easy to slack off. But when someone's checking in on you, suddenly you're way more motivated.
So true. Share your goals with a friend, family member, or even an online community. You can also use apps like Habitica, where you gamify your goals and earn rewards for completing tasks.
It's like having a personal cheerleader or a drill sergeant, depending on what you need.
Here's one that doesn't get enough love. Reward yourself. Motivation isn't just about discipline. It's also about creating positive reinforcement.
Exactly. When you complete a task, no matter how small, celebrate it. Maybe it's treating yourself to a snack, watching an episode of your favorite show, or taking a short break.
The key is to associate productivity with something enjoyable. That way, you're more likely to stick with it.
Finally, let's talk about your environment. If your space is cluttered or full of distractions, it's like trying to run a marathon in flip-flops. Possible, but way harder than it needs to be.
Exactly. Declutter your workspace, turn off notifications, and create a dedicated area where you can focus. Sometimes a simple change in environment can make a huge difference. So to recap, start small, use timers, get accountability, reward yourself, and simplify your environment. These strategies aren't just about beating laziness. They're about building habits that make action a natural part of your day.
Coming up next, we'll share some real-life examples of people who've used these strategies to turn their ambition into action. Don't go anywhere.
All right. Now that we've shared some strategies, let's bring them to life with real examples. These stories show how small changes can lead to big results, even when laziness feels like an obstacle.
Let's start with someone who felt completely overwhelmed. A friend of mine wanted to switch careers but kept procrastinating because the idea of finding a new job felt like climbing Mount Everest.
That's so relatable. What did they do?
They broke it down into tiny steps. First, they spent just 15 minutes updating their resume. The next day, they looked at job listings for 10 minutes. After a week, they'd applied to 3 jobs. Within a month, they had an interview lined up. It was all about starting small and staying consistent.
That's amazing. It's proof that even big goals are manageable when you focus on small, actionable steps. Here's another one. A friend of mine wanted to start a YouTube channel but kept overthinking everything. The equipment, the content, even the idea of being on camera.
Let me guess, they were stuck in perfectionism mode?
Exactly. So I told them to start simple. Film one video with their phone, no fancy setup. They posted it, and guess what? It wasn't perfect, but people loved the authenticity. That first video gave them the confidence to keep going.
That's a great reminder that progress beats perfection every time. Sometimes you just need to hit record and see what happens. Here's one more. A colleague of mine wanted to get in shape but kept putting it off because going to the gym felt intimidating. Sound familiar?
Oh, definitely. What changed for them?
They started by doing bodyweight exercises at home for 10 minutes a day. After a couple of weeks, they felt confident enough to join a beginner's class at the gym. Fast forward 3 months, and they've made working out part of their routine.
That's such a great example. The hardest part is often just starting, but once you build momentum, it gets easier and easier. So whether you're dreaming of a new career, starting a creative project, or improving your health, these examples show that taking small, consistent steps is the key to overcoming laziness and achieving your goals.
Coming up next, we'll recap everything we've covered today and leave you with one actionable takeaway to get started right now.
All right, let's wrap things up. Today, we've explored the paradox of being ambitious but feeling stuck. It's a frustrating place to be, but the good news is that it's not permanent, and it's something you can absolutely overcome.
Let's quickly recap the key takeaways. 1. Why ambition and laziness coexist. It's not about being lazy, it's about feeling overwhelmed, fearing failure, or chasing perfection. 2. What's holding you back? Overwhelm, decision fatigue, distractions, and lack of clarity are common barriers. 3. How to take action. Start small, use timers, get accountability, reward progress, and simplify your environment.
And don't forget the real-life examples we shared. Whether it's switching careers, starting a creative project, or improving your health, the common thread is simple. Progress beats perfection every single time.
So here's your challenge. What's one small step you can take today towards your goal? Maybe it's writing the first sentence of an email, spending 5 minutes brainstorming, or just tidying up your workspace. Whatever it is, start small and celebrate the win.
And remember, ambition doesn't mean you have to do everything at once. It's about taking one intentional step at a time. You've got this.
Thank you so much for tuning in to the English Story Podcast. If this episode resonated with you, share it with a friend who might need a little extra motivation.
And don't forget to subscribe for more episodes like this. We're here to help you unlock your potential, one step at a time.
Until next time, take care and take that first step.
Bye, everyone.